So boys, we're going to be looking at the upcoming Iron Banner weapons. Now, I don't know when Iron Banner's coming out. Maybe next week. I don't know. I could see it possibly coming next week, which would be amazing. But here recently in the database and in your collections in the game, we can now see the Iron Banner guns themselves. There's a total of 6 of them, and we're going to go over the stats of each one of them, as well as the rolls that I would look for on each one of these guns. So first on this list, guys, we're looking at the Scout Rifle Talons of the Eagle. Sounds sexy. It's got a range stat of 71, which is pretty good. Its stability is at 36. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a good stability stat, but in comparison to our other 150s, that's one of the best stability stats. It's got decent handling at 33, but not great, and an aim assist of 30. So right off the bat, guys, when we look at the column of perks here, for our barrel perks, guys, I would pick any barrel perk that advocates for handling and stability. Now, magazine perks, for PvP specifically, I think it's a toss-up between steady rounds and high cal. I know people say high cal doesn't do much, but it does offer a little bit of flinch, even if it's marginal. Now let's look at the 2 traits. Again, I like to take the Jade Rabbit approach, advocate for stability. I know someone's gonna pop the question, what about full auto? Full auto on a 150 round per minute scout rifle is just not utilized enough. I promise you guys, I've tried them. So in this column, guys, Zen moment all day long. Which brings us to that final column. Out of everything here, I would want moving target. Again, guys, understand these are my personal preferences. So what might be a god roll for me might not necessarily be that roll for you. Moving on, guys, we're looking at the sniper rifle Bite of the Fox. This one's an interesting one. Now in the collections tab that we saw, it was showing it with full auto, which I found to be very interesting. A high impact sniper rifle like this with full auto. To me, that just sounds like it would not work. But it showed it with the perk Box Breathing, which is a great perk for PvE. Now for me and snipers, when it comes to stats, the most important thing for me is its handling speed, and some would say aim assist. To me, guys, aim assist is a weird one. Weapons that have some of the worst aim assists feel like they are the easiest to snipe with, like Whisper of the Worm. So I don't necessarily get too hung up on the aim assist factor anymore, but I do get hung up on handling. That's important to me. I've got to have a gun that handles well, especially when it comes to snipers. Now for PvE rolls on this one, guys, yeah, I mean, I would definitely try to shoot for box breathing. Maybe even go snapshot to box breathing so that you can be aiming down sights even quicker. And any type of magazine perk there that can increase that magazine size, or maybe even your reserves. It does have the option to roll with extended mag. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily a good perk to roll with, because the last sniper that was a high impact archetype that rolled with the extended mag for me only increased the mag size by +1. So I mean, it's not a bad magazine perk to have on it, but it doesn't just drastically change the weapon. Now for PvP, there's a lot of things we can go with. I like to move around a bunch, so snapshot sights for me is really nice. Get into a lane, immediately be aiming down sights, popping into someone. And snapshots move in target together. Oh, it's fantastic. But then there's those guys that like to sit down, they like to crouch. They like to take advantage of perks like Firmly Planted, because you do get an increase in accuracy, stability, and handling while you're crouched with that perk. It's a very undervalued perk, guys, but would go really well here with this sniper. And you could probably even pair that with Moving Target. I mentioned Moving Target a lot right now. Understand, it's probably my favorite trait to have on a sniper. It's disgusting. Moving on, guys, we have the Claws of the Wolf. This is a legendary energy pulse rifle. It is in the 540 round per minute archetype. So things like Darkest Before, Requiem. Now stat wise, it's not bad. It's actually got a better range stat than most of the other rapid fire pulses within its archetype, which is actually really good, guys. Like my biggest complaint with some of these pulses is the range stat is so bad. Now stability, it does suffer in this department slightly. I mean, it's just about neck and neck with the rest of them, but it does have a little less stability, and it also has a little less handling, which I find those two together is a terrible combination, especially given the fact that this is a rapid fire pulse rifle. So again, guys, right here, it should be simple, man. Barrel perks, anything that can go for stability and handling. Now recoil direction is very poor, by the way, guys, at 53. So if you got to take a hit to stability and handling, go with Arrowhead Break instead, that is completely fine. Now add some more to that recoil direction, keep things a little more vertical. In terms of magazine perks, ricochet rounds all day long. Fellas, I'm telling you, get ricochet rounds on this gun. Now the trades, guys, it can go two ways here, for me at least. If I was to not roll a masterwork that helps its stability or handling, especially handling, and the weapon handle very slowly, I think I would try Snapshot. Again, guys, we really don't know here until we have the weapon in our hands and we're trying it out for ourselves. But if the gun does handle well, I think Outlaw would be a great option, considering the fact that most 540s have a very slow reload time. And that final set of traits can be a number of things. If you were going to roll Outlaw, paired with Kill Clip is nasty. But then on the opposite side of the spectrum, if you're not necessarily looking for a heavy hitter, you just want something to lay on the R2 trigger with, then if you've got the stability stat to allow you ricochet rounds, a stability masterwork, arrowhead break, I really think that rocking full auto on this pulse will still be manageable. Either way it goes, I'm looking forward to this one probably more than all of these because I like me some 540 round per minute pulses, guys. Next up, Breath of the Dragon. This is an energy submachine gun in the 900 round per minute archetype. Now again, there's two different variations to 900 round per minute submachine guns. There's the 20 impact variant and the 15. The 15 impact variant hits harder on precision hits, but lower on body shot hits. Whereas things like New City in the 20 impact variants, they hit less per crit, but more per body. So needless to say, there's just a little more forgiveness in the 20 impact variants than there is in the 15. But technically, you can be more optimal with the 15 impact variants. Stat-wise here with Breath of the Dragon, guys, we're looking at 32 in range. Not that great. Stability, though, is very nice. Handling, also very nice. Recoil direction, perfect. Just about. Guys, it's a good roll SMG right here. Now the question is going to remain on this one, what do we need to go with in terms of perks? Well, you can take the path that most of us take, which is usually some variant of Outlaw and Kill Clip. In terms of magazine perks, you can pair with it either ricochet rounds or high cal, either one. Now if you're just hunting purely for stability here, you want a gun to just kill for you. And I have one of those. That SMG was called Stochastic Variable, my favorite SMG, and it was just consistent, old faithful. I would say Zen Moment Tap the Trigger is a wonderful perk set to go with. So ideally for me, guys, any barrel perk that extends that range a little more, ricochet rounds to help with range and stability, Zim Moment, and Tap the Trigger. That's what I would choose. Finally on this list, guys, are the power weapons. We've got Swarm of the Raven, which is a grenade launcher. It is of the aggressive frame archetype. I'm gonna be honest with you boys, I don't know enough about grenade launchers. Like the only one I consistently use is Play of the Game. I know in terms of stats, in comparison to other aggressive frame grenade launchers, it's pretty much neck and neck with them. Very similar blast radius, a little faster on the velocity end, but not much. Not a huge difference here. I really don't have any advice on here, guys. Y'all let me know in the comments below what you would pick for this grenade launcher. Again, I mainly just play with the adaptive grenade launchers. So these aggressive and precision grenade launchers, they're a little bit out of my scope. Now the final weapon here, Roar of the Bear. I don't know about you boys, I use like 2 rocket launchers. Sins of the Past, Curtain Call. Like that's it. Even now, I need to use some other rocket launchers. I actually got a Bad Omens the other day. But we have a number of different perks you could go with. The velocity on it is really poor. So I don't think I would recommend this rocket launcher with like tracking for things like Gambit. It just take too long for the rocket to get there. So if we're just gonna go purely for DPS, you can roll it with cluster bombs. And I guess if you wanted to rock tracking with cluster bombs, I don't see anything wrong with that. But it also has the perk Impact Casing that you could roll with that I'm kind of interested about. I don't even think I've ever seen that perk. I may have, I don't know. But it increases damage on direct hits. So yeah, ideally the perks here, guys, Impact Casing, tracking, and cluster bombs. Pretty much the default layout here. So guys, those are your Iron Banner weapons. Let me know in the comments below what you think about them. Again, I'm the most excited for that pulse rifle and probably that SMG. That SMG could possibly be nasty. 900 round per minute SMGs are really good in this sandbox. So guys, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.